Everybody, I am Sister Slayage and welcome to my channel, Boo Sugar. Today I am here to review this right here. This is a part of the MAC Art Library collection. It just released in stores. Well, it's not released in stores yet. I believe it will be in stores on Thursday, but it did release online today. And it consists of 3 palettes. One is more of a cool tone. One is this one called FLAME-BOYANT. And another one is like this bright color. I'm going to show you pictures of the other ones. I don't have that one. So if you want to know how this palette stand up to my review, you better stay tuned. Okay. What's wrong with me? It's good to see y'all though, so just stay tuned. Yeah, that part. If you are new here, welcome. If you are already a member of the Slay Nation, welcome back. Please don't kill me. It has been so long since I've done an eyeshadow palette review. It's probably been maybe a month now. So I'm gonna get back to the essence of the nitty gritty, you know, and get back to reviewing these palettes, something I love to do the most. And so today I have the FLAME-BOYANT palette. It is a part of the Art Library collection. And the concept behind the Art Library collection is essentially MAC getting back to the essence of giving everybody what it is that they need, you know, something for everybody. And how they've done this is by consulting with senior artists within the company, people who have done makeup from celebrities, average people, average everyday people, all the way down to runway makeup. And what they found is that there are just certain color palettes that everyone loves, and there's something for everyone. So what they did was they launched 3 separate palettes. I only have one with me today, but I will put a picture of the other 2 in this video. Unfortunately, I did not swatch those. I should have, but I did not. One is a bright and colorful palette, is more editorial. Another one is more of a cool tone palette, and this one is more of a warm tone palette. So if you want to learn more about how I review palettes, there's a video that I have called How to Pick Out an Eyeshadow Palette, and that way I go over the love concept and I explain what qualities you should look for in the eyeshadow. But if you haven't seen that video, just pause here and go take a look at that video up there. Now, if you just want to get straight to the review and you already seen my reviews before and you already know what it's about and you already know how I review stuff, just stay tuned, just keep watching. So, the first part of my love acronym is the letter L. L stands for long wearing and long lasting. And when we talk about what's long wearing and long lasting with the eyeshadow palette, we're talking about if the actual palette is going to be available for purchase for a long period of time. So when you run out of the eyeshadow, will it be easy for you to repurchase this product if it's a favorite of yours? And also how long the eyeshadow wears on the eyes. Now, I have worn this palette before. It wasn't this particular one. It was at work, so I'm kind of giving away what I do for a living. I'm also a freelance makeup artist for MAC. So I have got a chance to play with this particular palette, and what I found is this palette does wear for a very long period of time. I get anywhere from a 6 to a 10-hour wear with this palette, and that's just because of the nature of my eyelids. My eyelids are oily. It doesn't matter what type of primer, what type of setting powder I put on my lids, them just, it's greasy. It's never easy. You know what I'm saying? So my eyes are very oily, and if it can wear that long on me, imagine how long it could wear on someone who does not have oily lids. So when it comes to the wear time of this eyeshadow, I am definitely going to give it an 8. Now, when it comes to long lasting, I just freelance with the company, so I don't always get the ins and the outs of how long we're going to have this palette and if it's going to be a permanent staple in our cosmetic line. However, I've heard 2 different things. So I've heard that if these palettes would be replacing the warm, the cool, and in the flesh palettes. because those palettes are currently like on sale for like, I want to say 30 to 40% off. So they usually retail for $65. They're now on sale for like 40 bucks. So if you don't have that palette and you want a everyday palette, y'all go and grab those palettes while you can, because I already had the warm palette, but I went ahead and got another one because I'm an artist and this is something that I use all the time. Now I do have a couple colors in this palette that we already have in the warm palette. So that brings me to the other part where I feel like maybe they will be replacing these palettes, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, I don't know as far as how long these palettes are going to be on the market and if they're going to be permanent. And because of that, even though it looks bad on my part because I do work for a company, but I'm only a freelance artist, being the fact that I don't have that information, I want to be fair with how I grade this, because MAC is a trend brand, and a lot of times we do release limited edition collections, and it's like one of those things where you better grab it or you'll never have it. So I'm gonna give this a 5 because I don't know, and I want to be fair. I don't want to give it a 1 because that's like a low performing grade, and I don't want to give it a 10 because it's like, oh sure, you're gonna get this thing in like 10 years. So yeah, when it comes to how long the eyeshadow wears in the eyes, an 8. When it comes to longevity of the palette, I'm gonna give it a 5. So yeah, that's L for you folks, you know what I'm talking about. Now we're gonna get to O. For those of you who are a member of my Slay Nation and watch my videos and see my channel, y'all know when it comes to O, y'all know this is when I lose my. I got to make sure my palettes are organized. You know what I'm talking about? So we're gonna pop this baby open here. Now, as you will see, this is a perfect example of a organized palette. This palette is a warm tone palette, so we won't have to worry about it going from warm to cool or cool to warm. We don't have colors splashed all over the place. It kind of gives you a nice little light to dark, and it doesn't have too many colors in it to where you look at it and be overwhelmed with this palette. It has 12 colors in there, which I think is pretty darn good, especially for the cost point, which I will get into that with the letter V. So this palette is extremely organized. I am able to look at this palette within 2 to 3 minutes and figure out what type of look I want to go for. If you want to go for something that is a little more on the soft neutral side, you want to stay around this part here. If you want to go somewhere that's a little more dramatic, you can kind of get in there. And then you also have 4 shimmers to choose from. I don't recommend that. Say if you have like aging skin and you have like maybe kind of wrinkly eyelids, I would definitely stay away from the shimmers. However, this palette is it caters to both. This palette can be worn by, I'm kind of getting over into E, whatever. I'm not at that part yet. Look at me rambling, y'all. The palette is organized as hell, so I am gonna give this a 9. All right, so for organized, letter O, she gets a good grade of a 9. Now we're going to get into the third part of the love acronym, and that's the letter V. V stands for value and versatility. And when we speak about value in an eyeshadow palette, we're talking about how much does each eyeshadow cost within the palette. And usually if you want to get what I would consider a good value, it's going to be anywhere from something as little as 50 cents up to $5 per eyeshadow within the palette. Now, if you go above $5, that's fine. It's just going to be a little more costly. And also it goes into what I would like to call a artist palette. And when I speak about an artist palette, it's considered an investment palette, and it's something where you can write it off on your taxes and you kind of get your money's worth. And also once it gets above that $5 per eyeshadow within the palette, you kind of want it to be able to pay for itself, unless you're going to use every color within a palette, which in a perfect world you can do that. But the average person is not going to use every single color within the eyeshadow palette. So that's why we like to keep the value down as far as the price point, because if you don't use every eyeshadow in the palette, you don't feel like you've been gypped. So when it comes to value and versatility, value wise, well, it has, this palette retails for $48, which is let's see, yeah, $4 per eyeshadow within a palette, because we have 12 eyeshadows. And that is kind of more on the higher end of my scale of 50 cents up to $5. Still not that bad, because it is below that $5 cost point, to where it's not necessarily what I would consider an artist palette. This palette does have quite a bit of colors in there to cater to any and everyone. And I personally will use every color within this palette. I can't speak for everyone else, but this palette will be something that's very easy to use and very cost efficient. Now, when we get to the versatility, when we speak about versatility, I want to know how versatile is this palette, and if I can get more uses out of it. And I'm not talking about just for the eyes. Can you use it as a blush, a highlight, contour? Even if push comes to shove, can you mix these colors together and make a powder foundation? Those are the things I look for when I grade a palette on versatility. And the reason why I am a strong believer that a palette should be versatile is because the average person doesn't have an extensive budget for makeup. And you want to make sure that your palettes are working at full potential for you. And you don't want to have to clutter up, because I'm going to go and do a video one day, but you don't want to have to clutter up your bathroom or your makeup room or your studio, whatever it may be, because you have to pick out so many different palettes to just do so many different things. I feel, especially when it comes to a powder formula, you should be able to get a nice highlight, a lip color, a blush. I think those are a huge plus when it comes to versatility. So when we look at this palette, I see a palette that is extremely versatile. I cannot do these colors as a foundation, of course, because they are way too warm and I will look like a pumpkin. You know what I'm saying? I will look like a pumpkin, sweet potato, orange grapefruit up in this big with red Kool-Aid on top. All right? So we can't do our whole face with that, and that's fine. But we can use some of these colors as blushes, especially these here. They do warm up quite nicely, and you can even use these as a blush. You can use this color as a highlight, and even this color as a highlight as well. And these two colors, you can kind of use that one as a blush. You have to be very light-handed with it. And this one you can use as a contour. It is one of the cooler tone colors within this palette. It's still warm, but it's cooler than the other colors within this palette. So you can, I do see highlights and blushes and a contour color in this palette. I even see a few lip colors in here. You kind of have to scrape the formula and then mix it with the gloss. Or you can put a primer on your lip and place it on the brush and make a matte lip color. So I do find this palette to be extremely versatile. However, well, I'll get that'll be later on when it comes to ease of everyday use, the next one. So I'm gonna stay on topic here. So yes, this palette is versatile. Not versatile enough to do your whole face. However, if you get stuck in the airport and your baggage is lost or whatever, or stuck somewhere and you can't find the rest of your stuff in your makeup bag, and you have this palette in your purse, you're not completely screwed. You know what I'm saying? You can get quite a bit done with this palette. So when it comes to versatility, I'm gonna give it an 8. Now for E, the very last part of this here love acronym and a part of this here review. I am talking about ease of everyday use. And ease of everyday use is probably the most important part of purchasing an eyeshadow palette. And it's going to be the determining factor of how much you love your eyeshadow palette and if you'll use it. Because if you use it, that means you are getting your money's worth. You're not wasting money, all right? We ain't wasting money around here. We left this stuff in 2018, you know what I'm talking about? 19, we doing good around here, you know what I'm talking about? And so when it comes to ease of everyday use, that we talk about how the palette performs when it comes to pigmentation, how it swatches, and also what type of tools to use to get the maximum efficiency and application from the palette. So when it comes to ease of everyday use, I'm going to start off with the pigmentation. Don't know how well you can see it, but these are the swatches that are on my arm. A jiggling, baby. Go ahead, baby. My arm look like a thigh. I'm sorry. So we're gonna get back to the pigmentation here, and the way it swatches. Now, the camera gives this palette a little more justice, because in person, I'm not really a fan of how this eyeshadow palette swatched. When it came to the shimmer colors, of course, shimmer colors have more oil in them, and this is just with one swipe. So the shimmer colors perform very well. The matte colors, not so much. You probably can hardly see this swatch here. So these colors here, which, let me open the palette back up to kind of show you exactly which ones are which. It's this color here, and then these three are here. That one's there, and then the other ones are at the top here. I found that the these middle tone and light tone matte colors within this eyeshadow palette, they did not swatch well at all. However, this is one of those few palettes that you don't want to just make your purchasing decision based on how it swatches. Like I say few, most eyeshadow palettes you don't, because the way it may swatch has nothing to do with how it wears on the lid. More often than not, some palettes may swatch well and do terrible on the lid, and some palettes may do wonderful on the lid and swatch like crap, which in this case, this is one of them. I find that even when you are in a store just kind of playing around with swatches, always ask for a brush and place the colors on your eye, because that's going to determine how it really wears, because you're not going to be wearing eyeshadows on your arm. Let's just be real. You're going to be wearing them on your eyes. I made that brutal mistake with the Anastasia Sultry palette because it swatched so well on my arm, and I thought I knew better, but I guess I didn't. I bought that palette and I absolutely hated it. And if you want to get into the nitty gritty of why I hated that palette, honey, the video is on my channel. You can go see it. I'm still in my feelings about that palette. I'm so in my feelings about that palette. I might not even link that damn video, honey. I just wasn't feeling it. So you don't want to make your decision solely on purchases. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Now, when it comes to like the packaging, it's also part of easy everyday use. This packaging is plastic. It is very sturdy. It's kind of got like a little weight to it. It doesn't feel cheap. The colors are spaced apart, so you don't have to worry about them kind of washing into each other. So that's pretty good. It has a very nice size mirror at the top of the palette, so that's pretty good. And y'all know, even though cardboard packaging is good for the environment, I still hate cardboard packaging. I don't feel it does a really good job with protecting the product inside. They're hell to travel with. They bend, they warp, and over time they don't really look that good. I also think it's kind of like a lazy concept. I'm kind of an old school, hard plastic type of girl when it comes to packaging, and I also find it is easier to travel with versus just kind of the cardboard getting mashed up and your products getting damaged. So I love the packaging. It's very cute, very simple, just kind of has like the little colors swatched across the top, and of course it has matte, and then it also has the names on the back, which I love. Also, I do love the size of this palette. Like I said, I don't know if it's replacing the 15 palette, but if it is, I'm okay with it, because it does have amber lights in there, which was in the other palette, and the other ones are kind of newer colors, but this palette is perfect to travel with. It's not so big like the James Charles palette, which is like the size of a freaking poster board. You can travel with this palette. You can put this palette in your purse, you know, or you can leave it at home. Either way is fine. So this palette is, you know, it's portable. You know what I'm talking about? It's good, you know? Oh, and so, what's the other part? Yeah, when it comes to brushes and formulation. Now the formula, I have worn MAC for over a decade. I've worn it for a while, and I've noticed a change in the formulas. MAC has recently changed their brushes to become a little more cruelty-free and environmental friendly. A lot of their brushes are going to be really tailored to work with their new formulas, and because they've changed their brushes to synthetic, most synthetic brushes work very well with creams and liquids. So they had to make some adjustments to the eyeshadow and the palette formulas that they do have, because they wanted to make sure that the brushes and the pigment, well, the eyeshadows, performed well together. So even though I'm more of a fan of the natural hair brushes, I don't like animal cruelty. It's kind of one of those, you know, double-edged swords. I don't like animal cruelty, but not saying that they were being cruel to the animals, but you know, I understand being more environmental friendly and eco-friendly. So I do appreciate them making their formulas more creamy to be able to work with the brushes. However, I still have most of my natural hair brushes, the ones that I already have. I'm not throwing them away because I still do like my brushes and they're still pretty good. So I did work with this eyeshadow palette using both natural hair and synthetic brushes. And I found that with this particular palette, they do still pick up and they distribute the product very evenly on the lids. So you can use a natural hair brush or you can use a synthetic brush and you can still get comparable results. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And you know, this palette, I really do like this palette, and I strongly recommend this palette. And it's not because I freelance or work with MAC or whatever. I'm not biased. I really like this palette. And when it comes to the score of ease of everyday use, this palette is extremely easy to use. It's extremely portable, extremely easy to travel with. It's easy to pick up the formula with the brush. The only thing I don't like about it is it doesn't swatch that well. And if you are a person who makes your purchasing decisions solely based on how a eyeshadow swatches on your arms, unfortunately you may overlook this palette. But all in all, I am giving it a 9. The palette is easy to use, easy to store, easy to travel with, and it's just a really nicely laid out and very nicely executed palette. So, will you be buying this palette? Is it worth 48 of them things? If so, let me know. Like, get in those comments and let me know, how do you feel about this palette? Are you going to be buying the other two? Are you going to be buying just this one, all three? Let me know. I'm really excited about this particular palette, and I want to know if y'all going to be buying it. So if you have any additional questions about this palette, let me know. I have it on now. I have like a thick liner on. So if you want to see a tutorial using this palette, I'm also going to be putting that tutorial up as well. It is going to be my Pantone 2019 Living Coral inspired hair and makeup tutorial. So be on the lookout for that video. And yeah, thank you for watching, y'all. I am so sorry it's been taking so long for me to put another eyeshadow palette review up. I've been going through a whole lot of changes in life. Changes, both good and bad. So unfortunately, I've been kind of slow with posting my videos. I've still been recording. I'm always recording. I'm always thinking of bright new ideas to bring you all relevant content. And if you have any other products that you would like for me to try and review, let me know. I want to be as interactive with you all as possible because you took your time to watch my videos and subscribe and become a part of the Slay Nation. You are family to me. I appreciate everything you do. I love you all. And if you feel that I'm deserving of any likes and subscriptions, if you are not a member of the Slay Nation, if you feel I deserve those, please subscribe. There's nothing else I can say. Because I love you. You know what I'm talking about? Subscribe, like, comment, and stay tuned for more content in the future. I am in the process of moving. Starting to move. Starting a new job. I'm going to a new city. So it's going to be a lot of changes. So bear with me, and I can't wait to take you on this journey with me as my channel grow and as my career progress in life. I am going to have you all by my side. So once again, thank you for your support. Thank you to all of my day ones, and I love you. You be blessed and come back and see me, y'all. Bye, boo sugars.